Namaste, everybody. We're back. It's day it's day 3, and we ended on a, a heavy note yesterday. So we're back today to discuss the next segment, that is academic excellence. And let's just go through it point by point, and we'll take it from there. So what entails academic excellence in a Gurukulam? Personalized mentorship from a guru ensures tailored learning. Emphasis on deep understanding over rote memorization. Integrated curriculum links different subjects for a comprehensive view. Focus on fundamental principles builds a strong academic foundation. Direct application of knowledge through practical activities enhances heart intelligence and coherence. Oral tradition strengthens memory and articulation skills. Focuses on enhancing learning potential. Self-paced, it is self-paced in a completely zero pressure environment. So it's purely self-motivated, and there is no threat of examinations hanging over them to perform. Yes, so that covers how the Gurukulam children, basically children in a Gurukulam institution, their viewpoint towards academic learning. So it is very, very self-motivated. It is very self-paced. It is learning for the love of learning. And yes, academics is not sidelined in the Gurukulam. It is very much integrated, and it is integrated in such an interesting and uh, it's integrated in a very, I don't want to call it fun. So yeah, it is integrated very beautifully within the Gurukulam curriculum itself. It's not overlooked. It is what suits today's day and age, and that is taken into consideration in every Gurukulam. So it is definitely not only uh, religious learning as people generally tend to think what a Gurukulam is.
Richie, we can't hear you.
Sorry, yeah. I just was asking if Skanda also wants to come in on some of those points.
To enforce the side of the Gurukulam.
Yes.
Specifically because the minute people talk about Gurukulam, usually they try to look at it as an alternative to the mainstream schooling, which is academic training. What's very difficult for people to imbibe is that again and again from the session 1, I've been emphasizing on the fact that we should not be, comparing these two, because they're very, very different things. In fact, academic excellence is woven into the fabric of the Gurukulam methodology. And that's what the team is trying to bring forth. Skanda, it's up to you now.
Well, I mean, as you said yourself, it's sort of a myth that grew after a long time. Because if you look at something like this industry is so dominant by one way of teaching that everything else falls into this entire bracket of altered. So it looks to us like opposites, right? That's because we label it as altered and I'm stuttering a lot today. Just give me a second. It's because we make it a binary thing. You can either go here or you can go there, right? But it's really not, and it's something that we have harped upon since the time we started. To us, what it means is, and the way we work with it, it's that how much can you teach, right? Like it's about teaching as much as you can. Not even teaching, it's about making them learn as much as they can, right? and giving them, it's not about choosing that, okay, you need to learn this in order to be something. It's about learn life, and everything falls under that, even if it's something that seems to be on the opposite end of what we do. Because it's not on the opposite end, though some of us might have certain feelings against this way of learning. At the end of the day, it's what runs the world, right? Do we have to go along with it? No, we need not. But we can say that yes, there is something that we can learn from that too. I'm waiting for one of my oppositions to make a point so I can counter it.
So the whole point was about when you look at Gurukulam, right? As you were mentioning earlier, Gurukulam academics usually people don't relate to. So Gurukulam is meant to be non-academic. Gurukulam is a place where people just come together to learn, like what you were mentioning earlier, or Nutan was also mentioning earlier, is looked at as people sitting here to learn some religious texts. That is what it has come down to. That's what people usually associate it with it. And also the picture of what imagery of what Gurukulam brings to life is an open field, a tree, kids sitting under a tree and learning from a guru. That's what usually it is looked at. And also the modern day definitions doesn't suit with it, right? So this is exactly what is going on. So why are you talking about academic excellence and you're calling Gurukulam to be a place where you can achieve that from?
Okay.
Because if I want academic excellence, I'll go to any academic center. There are thousands.
I would say if all you want is that, then like if that's the only thing that you want from your child, it's the only thing that you want for your child. But I would doubt that any parent is going to stop
Just
at.
give us the points.
No, but I would doubt that any parent will stop at it's that, oh, this one thing is all I want. No parent will say that, oh, I just want my child to get marks, right? Most parents want as much for their kids. Like 90% of the parents want as much for their children as they can get, right?
Okay.
Why we brought this point up is to say that, is to break the myth that if you go into one way, if you go into something that doesn't seem to fall under the label of a mainstream, doesn't mean that you can't get what the mainstream gives. It's not opposites.
Yeah, agree to that. True.
Yeah, true.
But yes, like if the only thing stopping you from from coming into a Gurukulam is the kind of thinking that you have, that they are not academically oriented. They may not focus on academics. If that's the only thing stopping you, I think this just excuse me, this just shows you that it is very well integrated within the Gurukulam curriculum. So
I really don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
All the graduates of Leela Gurukulam, I can vouch for the Saupranika batch, the first batch. Raiva's here, Skanda's here, their batch, all 10 of them. They have all done excellently in academics. Excellently. And the youngest one, Skanda, you haven't performed academically excellent is a myth. You haven't taken an examination as a choice.
Yes.
Okay, but academic excellence is not just reduced to taking an examination. It's also the conversations that you can hold. So if we know Skanda as a person who can hold a conversation on warfare, he can hold it on geopolitics, he can talk about biochemical engineering, he can talk about anything. That means that you have also had your own way of academic excellence. But as how the society calls, okay, have you done well in exams? I think the entire first batch of Saupranika has done very well in exams, and the second batch is now going to get to their place where they do their 10th and 12th. So all of them, nobody in that batch has scored below 85, 89% in their 10th or 12th put together. The youngest one recently wrote a paper on business studies, and I think ended up getting something like 99 on 100, or that the weird kind of marks which
I think he got 100.
No, he aced it. He got 100.
He aced it, right?
Yeah.
He got 100 on 100. The youngest
out of the 5 ones he took, for 4 of them he got at least 98.
Yeah, and that's the youngest one, and
Yes.
the one who's just older to him, I think, entirety of his 12th standard, he has got 95% or 96% for all his subjects, hands down. So all the Gurukulam children have performed very well academically. And I know the reason why. You looked at every point that was shared on the slide. Personalized mentoring. Personalized mentoring does not mean anybody sat and gave them one-on-one tuition classes. That's not what it means. I haven't seen any one of their textbooks. I haven't sat with them. Neither are this batch who are mentoring the next batch. Neither of them know what the books are. But it's just that when you give them the attitude with which they can approach that subject, it's done. None of these children have prepared for more than 1 month for their 10th exam or for their 12th exam. 1 month was a maximum. And one day before the exam, they were all sitting in their Bhagavad Gita classes. A night before the exam. And before 1 month, they didn't know what their textbook looks like, where their textbook was kept. Some of them didn't even have a printout. Okay. Many of them started writing for the first time 1 month before their 10th standard exam. So no one had practiced. Yes, Raiva, please tell your experience of what it was for you to go here. You can just listen to her experience of how she went for that exam.
Powering off. Sorry.
It's okay. And the thing for us was that NIOS exams are really affordable for anyone in the country. So the exam fees is like, that's meager amount that you need to pay. It's nothing. It's not even 300, 500 rupees. It's something like that you pay for the exam. But how much we spent for the exam from the Gurukulam was a completely different story. And I think you need to hear that story from Raiva herself.
So the first time I went to write an exam, the first exam I wrote in my life, because I've never been to conventional schooling at all. So there was no exam. I've never been in an exam situation. So my first exam directly was my 10th exam. And it was specifically, I was writing data entry, which is a part of computers. And I was 15. So I was just going to turn 15 the next week. So, initially like Mirama told, I didn't know where my books are kept. I knew what my subjects are. I didn't know where my books were kept. 1 month before, I'm like, okay, now we have to get on to this. In fact, there were some assignments I had to submit, which I did not know. So I had to prepare for that overnight. That's when I realized, I think that was the only time I opened the books. That was in January. Then I closed the books back. Then March, I had my first exam. In the beginning of March, I started preparing. I started preparing for my exams. It was like Mirama told, it's not, when we say personalized, it was not that there was somebody with me telling me, oh, this is what this means, this is the sentence, this is the question answer. No, I knew the process. I specifically remember we had a session, all of us, my batch together, we had a session on what examinations are, how to approach an exam, what is an examination, in an examination, what is expected out of me. That session I very vividly remember. I'm telling, it is just about, do you know the points, how you present. It's more of a presentation test. So it was a combination of memory test and presentation test. That's what it came to us. And then after the 1 month, we just knew we are preparing a fancy PPT that we have to write on paper. That's what I registered. So I was like, let's prepare for this PPT. I opened my books up. I did not read, because first thing, I started speaking English only when I started taking classes at the age of 15. So this was the, fat books with 300 pages with a lot of complicated English was not something I was so comfortable with. But I went through the chapters, the headings, everything. I got the concept and knew the gist of the subject. And then the preparation started, which is just question answers, whichever way I felt I'm comfortable preparing for this memory test presentation, I did that. And then came the day of the exam. I remember I went with Mirama and Babaji. They took me to the first center, just to get me familiar with this is how, because they know I know zero about it. In fact, I didn't know before the examination, they take your signature, they take our names and details so that they have a track of, okay, the student has come. I had no idea. I just went there, I sat there, I waited for us to being called, allocated the space. For the first time, I got to know what a roll number is, that you get a number and you get what's that thing called? Exam se pehle ek
The hall
paper
ticket.
chahiye hota hai na?
Hall
Hall
ticket.
ticket, yeah.
Come on.
So So we take the hall ticket, we go, we get to know which room we are supposed to go to, we go there. And I'm seeing too, for me, it was more of a picnic because I was observing for the first time how others look at exams. I'm seeing one part of these students are like, its exam is in 5 minutes and they are memorizing something. And I don't know what they're trying to memorize. They're just scrolling through their phone. Some people are just turning pages. Some people are just so chill about it. It's almost like they've already lost it. So there were these two very distinct groups, and then there were some people of like me in the middle who are like neither memorizing, neither lost it. I was so looking forward to it. Then the examination process happened. It was fun. Like questions were there, answers were there. For what I didn't know answer, I knew how to present it well, so I just presented it well. And then I wrote the answers. I came out, and
Can
then my
I
next thought was,
can I just take you through your experience of your first question paper ever? So that
that was for my social science paper, the next paper after this.
what was the sheet called in which see again another person who's never given exams that way. What is
The
it called where
OMR
you have to those circles that you have to do the pencil
yeah,
shading, right?
The OMR sheets.
OMR sheet, correct.
Yeah, I have to tell this. Okay, so what happened was I'm sitting for the exam. I didn't know there is an OMR sheet. And I am very scared of signatures. For some reason, from the time I'm young, I don't like signing. I don't like, for me, before a signature, I need to practice 10 times, then only I can do my signature. The question paper has come to me. For the first time in my life, I've received a question paper. I'm seeing everybody in the room going through the questions. I also started going through the questions. Then they came and gave the OMR sheet. And they're like, sign here. And for that, in that moment, that was the only moment I felt stressed. Till then, there was no stress of whether I remember the answers, whether I'm prepared. I left the question paper. I did not look at the question paper for the first 15 minutes. I am only focused on knowing my OMR sheet properly because that is my weak point. And I knew that's my weak point. I'm seeing, okay, R, R, A. I'm just cross checking it again and again, making sure that my signature is all right. After that, the invigilator came to me and he's like, girl, this is not the exam paper. You have a question paper, focus on that. This you do later if you want to. Then that's how I started writing. So that was my first experience. And with the first experience, I got to know, okay, this is the cycle. I have to go, I have to wait, I have to sit, I have to write. I finish writing earlier, then I can just observe people around me, and then I can come out. After coming out, the reason why my exam fee was high was not because the exam fee was high. As soon as I came out, while going to the exam center, I spotted all the cafes nearby. So I was like, okay, this is a pizza cafe, this is a cold coffee cafe, this is that cafe, this is that cafe. So when I came out, I was like, today where to go? So we went there, and for every exam, we had one of our batchmates accompany us. So we went there,
for
we
moral
had
support.
food.
For moral support, the rest of the batchmates used to accompany. So now it was not just one pizza, it is also the pizza for the person who's gone along.
So yeah, all that pizza ordering, juice ordering, then Instagram photos for that, everything was done. Then we came back home. That was my first exam experience. Then the data entry questions I could understand. Okay, what is a computer? Just write the definition. The funnier questions started coming for the psychology papers and social science paper. Now, for me, I believe in common sense. So there in the social science paper there was this one question: what is the difference between East Coast and the West Coast? What's the difference between the soil and the East and the West Coast? And for me, the biggest common sense thing, the only answer which I wanted to write was one is in the East, one is in the West. That is the difference. But I knew that's not going to, that is not what is expected, but that is the truth. So then I just made up some things. I wrote it down. Like I get why the question is being asked and what is being asked, but I don't get how is that assessing me. So for me, it was all, and yeah, the questions, some questions I just didn't know why is this being asked. My preparation for the exam was just take the previous year's question papers. How much question can a person ask from a 300-page book? What will they find important? Just figure that out. Just memorize that. Go right. That was my approach. And the thing turned out is many of those papers, what I memorized is the only thing that came. So the chapters that I didn't touch, they were not there on the paper. I did the praying to God thing also, that God, please, that should not come. What this chapter thing should not come. All that experience also I had, but for me, God worked out it. Those chapters did not show up. But there were questions like that. what's the difference between East and West Coast? I'm not getting any now, but yeah. And then on history, why did this kingdom, 5 reasons why this kingdom fell. And the thing is, those are the reasons the textbook gives for all kingdoms. So I don't know. The only thing that is different is the king's name, the date, and probably which king opposed him or which king got him down. 3 things to remember. The story is the same. So whatever you write will make sense. So those are the kind of things I was like, if, and the funniest thing is, for every question paper, I don't know how this happens. Answer for one question will be there in another. For one question, it happens usually. This one question's answer is there somewhere in another question. So if you just read the question paper properly once, you'll probably crack one question already. So those kind of things I was noticing. So the writing part was easy. I used to write for 3 hours paper. I used to write for 1.5 hours, and the other 1.5 hours, I'm just looking at people around. And then for me, it got boring after the third exam. I was like, what am I doing here? What am I spending 3 hours of my life here for? Because I knew in the Gurukulam, at the same time, my Gurukulam mates are probably making content or working on a website or developing some skill which will come used to them, and I'm here sitting just waiting for this paper to finish. So to entertain myself, I did the most Raiva thing possible. As I was sitting there, I just imagined what everybody else might be thinking, or and how would they be reading this question paper, or how people from around the world would read this question paper. So that same question paper, which has usually, I don't know how many of you remember your question papers or whether it was the same. Before the question paper starts, there was a section which gives the instructions. First read the question, and then there'll be MCQs and something and all will be written. So I was like, what if the airport lady, the airport speaker would be telling me these things? How would she say? Or if an air hostess has to tell me these instructions, how would she? So for me, I just converted it into an inner drama where I'm just imagining, ये है आपके सवाल, आपको जवाब देना है इन चारों में से. So that's the kind of imagination I went through for each of the questions because I didn't know what to do. Yeah, so that boredom part was taken care of by my creativity. 1.5 hours of boredom, my creativity took care of it. That was my experience. My mom and I, for me, we thought there is a chance I might not pass because the way I took the entire approach
Your
was
mom was very sure that there's no passing and all happening. And the main thing was just go see what an exam is, what it feels like. And with this 1.5 hours for that paper, Baraji, she came back with some 90, 91.
I was about to ask, with all of this thing that you did there, doing the drama, not knowing what to do, did you even get some numbers on the paper?
I was shocked because see, when I looked at others writing, asking for extra sheet, asking for extra time, I'm like, I'm doing something wrong here.
Okay.
Either I'm writing less or I'm not doing fine. But then 6 weeks after I wrote my last exam, when the results came out, I opened the results thinking it could go anyway. And I was very okay with it because I just went for the experience and the experience was done. And me and Ma are looking at my phone. The sheet opens and all the ranks are A,
Mhm.
90, 85, 85. I refresh the page to check whether it's mine. I was like, is this
I
really
almost
mine?
told her, send it back for evaluation. This is not your paper. You can't be getting this.
Well, when you were mentioning all of these points earlier, right? When these children were preparing for their exams just 1 month before, and then they were attending classes just a day before their exam, and not even having the textbooks and all of that. At an age when we were there in engineering, we did that, but that was on purpose because we wanted to be rebels. But otherwise, growing up during the school days, this was a mission for the entire family. The TVs used to be disconnected, no power at home, no entertainment, no going out from the house to play with kids. When the exam season approaches, right? Something March is when the exams used to happen. So Jan is the exam season. So it's like a festival season, it's the exam season. Every parent used to discuss about exams. That was a coming together for all the parents. And that was a purpose and motive of life. बच्चों को एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपेयर करा रहा है. So
The
taking text.
ambience is like the ambience is like the bereavement.
Yeah,
Like the
for
mourning
us,
period after a death in a family.
yeah,
The
you cannot
ambience
go for
of a
functions.
board exam family is like that.
Right. No functions used to happen at home. You're not going anywhere. क्यों exam आ रहा है? So everybody was that, and that was a point of living and point of celebration or point of it was like a purpose of that. Even today, I see a lot of my
Even
friends and
before, the first
uh,
thing that starts is art class stop, dance class
everything
stop,
stop.
everything stop.
Yeah. So you cannot have your food for more than 30 minutes. So sleep early, wake up early, 4 o'clock in the morning. That lagna is the time that you can study well. So you need to spend 12 hours reading, extra tuition classes if required. So no physical activities, nothing at all. So this is how it was. And I still see a lot of parents, even today, taking stress about the children's exam. And it's kind of a coming together for all the parents. Exam time Ara, is something that we have found something common to discuss. What are you doing? How are you coaching the kids? What are you doing? What are they learning? What are you cracking as a shortcut for them to prepare for the exams? I think by taking them away from the stress, anxiety, and preparations and all of that, right, we'll be taking away a beautiful part of their life, which we shouldn't do. don't, don't bring them to.
Hail, hail thy Bharat, hail thy Bharadwaj. That's brilliant. We shouldn't take off the thrill of exams away from parents, right?
Yeah, it's more than the kids, it's the parents who are enjoying it. I mean, see, what else would you do? I mean, there's no other way that you would bond with the children apart from the entire year. Only time that you're bonding with the children is during the exams. Sit down with them, spend extra time. You're coming back soon from the office, and the companies are okay with it. Everybody understands. Nobody's pressurizing you to go attend functions. The the quality of time that is spent, not the quality, I'd say quantity of time that is spent with your children is at the peak during the exam season.
Why won't you say quality?
I don't know. For all the reasons I mentioned above before. So, with that amount of time that the children are getting with the parents, I think we should leave that for them to enjoy and relish.
How desperate are you for these points?
I'm not. I'm.
We
I'm
really
with the
have you backed
parents
up
for this,
against the
right?
wall, don't we?
No,
I'm with the
actually, we're not just talking about exams alone. We're talking about the entirety of
entire thing.
academic excellence, right? So,
Okay.
like Skanda was
No.
saying, this is not the only thing that parents want. Seriously, Skanda, is it not the prime of the things that the parent wants for the child? Academic
Here's the
excellence.
thing. I feel the common notion is that anything that adds on to it is good. Like if they can have academics and they can have, say, anything else with it, any kind of training, anything else, then they're fine with it. But what parents don't like, and it's a very common pattern I've seen among my friends, among many people, that what they don't like is when the something else is eating into what they feel is the academic performance, right? And I feel the reason for that is, well, I won't get into why, but I want to share like a bit of like how exams were to me throughout my childhood, because I have only taken a few, not exams, what do you call the smaller ones,
Test.
tests
Tests, yeah.
here and there. But the only time I used to have friends in my last apartment here, there were no kids, so I don't have many friends outside of the but in the last apartment, I had lots of friends, and anytime exam time used to come, it was like I'm going to meet a prisoner in the jail. It was like I'm like seeing them through the railings, and they're like, "No, bro, I can't come. Don't I have exam?" So for me, exam was this crime that you've committed, and it sucked your life out. So you're saying how nice it is for the parents. The child look like it's in distress. The child look like they need therapy, and it's like if two of them had exams at the same time, the way they would bond over their pain, it was tragically beautiful or beautifully tragic, either ways.
Yeah. So
So
that is the reason, Skanda, that the title of the webinar is not why Gurukulam is not for you. It is not why it is not for your child. So we're talking to the parents who would love to have this, right? So
which parent?
every parent.
So, Skanda, I feel my experience is also because I have a family which is okay with me not writing exam at all also. Like if I would have told Ma, I don't want to write my exams, I don't want that validation of a certification in my life, then I think there was no pressure. Even when I went to write the exam, she was completely okay with the fact that, okay, if this girl is just going for the experience, eating foods in cafe and coming back, if she fails, she fails. We are okay with it. The others in the same batch, in my same batch, though they all knew what Gurukulam is, though they knew that these children, their own children, their learning potential is what has been worked on. They will pick up, they will do it. In fact, they did it in the 10th, they did it in the 12th again. Still, then those parents have it to tell their children, focus on your studies, focus on your studies. Because one thing is, okay, it might look like, okay, I did my exams comfortably because of the way I am. But the truth is, for everybody else in the Gurukulam, also it was comfort. It's not that we belittle exams. For us, it's not at all a point of validation or self validation. It's another expression of our learning. That's how we approach it. Here at the Gurukulam, it's like there are multiple ways we express our learning. Exams become another way we are expressing one part of our learning. That's how we approach it. That approach itself is not there in parents. Even our batch Gurukulam parents, they struggle with it. That why is my child not studying? It's 1 month. The 3 months are left for your 10th exams. How are you not studying? And then those parents had to remind, our batch children had to remind the parents, we'll do it. We are doing something else now. We are focusing on another part of ourselves now. We'll do it later. Then didn't you see them go through the struggle?
Yeah, actually, most of the children of your batch as well went through that struggle. It was not easy because the struggle of the parent who's already conditioned that, okay, now exams have come, now you have to get serious, now you have to focus. And as long as the child is sitting with the book continuously morning to evening, they think that the child is focused.
Yeah.
So in the Gurukulam method, sorry, Raiva, go ahead.
And you're saying, so what you're telling that a parent will be happy if academics is not being disturbed but other things are happening. Our parents were that kind of parents. Academics is not at all being disturbed. We all have scored over 90%. But were they happy? Were they happy during that period? Because for them,
Exactly.
exam के लिए prepare करना मतलब you have to sit for it, you have to do it every day. बच्चे ने छुआ ही नहीं है book तो कहाँ पे लिखेगा तुम? So you want the same result at the end of the year. What's the difference?
In 10th standard, all of you gave beautiful results, but in 12th, the parents still did not get it. Still went through the same struggle. The entire deeper understanding that your children are coming from a Gurukulam methodology, which means that for a good 10 to 12 years of their life, they're trained in intuitive learning, they're trained in osmotic learning, they're trained in connecting patterns together. Okay, all the projects that they do is enhancing their learning potential. One exposure to material is opening an entire treasure trove of content for them, right? And again, there was a slide on deep understanding versus rote learning, right? Do we use rote in the Gurukulam? Yes. Can you please close the chat, please, Bharaji? It's very distracting. So the rote is a very important part of it. Why in Gurukulam how do you learn mantras? By rote learning. So there's no issue with rote learning. There was always a focus on what is it that you're memorizing. The content that you memorize becomes memorization through rote learning is one of the best methods of reprogramming your subconscious or your spirit. So it becomes very essential. What is the content that the rote learning is happening about? So yes, deeper understanding was given. Deeper understanding, I'll join it with the point on integrating subjects. See, when you learn about your Vijnanamaya Kosha with an analogy and comparison of how the currents, usko kya bolte hain? The conduction, how those things happen and how these wind and water currents happen around the oceans of the planet. When you learn that and when you learn your own mind functioning as a comparison, or you're learning about magnetism and levitation and also learning about your own Kundalini energy with that comparison. So every academic concept has been introduced with some connection to the self. How many people we hear today complaining that whatever I learned in school is something that I never practically use in my life? I don't know why I learned trigonometry. I don't know why I learned algebra. Today, I'm not using my sine square thetas and cos square thetas in my life. But it's very different for a Gurukulam student because they engage with the concept of trigonometry through Bhagavad Gita, through understanding what Krishna has been speaking about. They engage with algebra as part of psychology. Math is learned in the Gurukulam as a language or an expression of psychology. So because every subject is integrated and given that kind of understanding, right, that kind of depth, they don't have to sit in the last minute and mug it up. They never had that method at all. So is the parent only satisfied with academic excellence, which anyway the Gurukulam will give? No. They're stuck upon the way the child is achieving it. And until and unless the child at least fakes it that it's learning the way the parents are used to, the parents are never convinced to say that, okay, you worked hard and you did well in your exams. It's not that you were so well trained and prepared through so many years that exam was a beautiful expression for you. So if you're a parent who's just looking at your child sitting with books and sitting on a table and writing notes and repeating and, doing mock exams, and then, being serious about it means being tensed about it, being worried about it. Right? So you feel very proud that you have a child who's so concerned about their exams that they're losing their sleep over it, they're losing their hunger over it, and they're sitting for hours together on the table and studying. And only then you realize that the child is serious about the exam. If that's the case, then is the Gurukulam method for you? Because the children know that abstract content is engaging them in a very different kind of development, and academic content is not natural or organic to the human system. And therefore, I have to take it as a side channel. And if I have a project that is completely based on creativity right now, I'm not going to take up an exam because I'm more interested in my creative expression that is going to run with me through my lifetime and beyond this lifetime too. If that's the content that's more important to me, is a parent okay to understand? If not, the Gurukulam is not for you. So if a parent has an idea of how a child should achieve success in exam, then definitely Gurukulam is not for your child. So that's my counter on you, Skanda. Gurukulam is not, Gurukulam is not needed for children. And academic excellence is not an excuse or a reason why children are not, why the Gurukulam methodology is not back for the entire Bharata.
Haven't we already gone over parents and their expectations? I feel like that's something we have spoken about.
I'm talking about academic
extensively
excellence. Okay, let me put my point to you in one phrase. Academic excellence is a sure shot in the Gurukulam methodology. So academic excellence, yeah. So parents wanting academic excellence, right? Parents wanting academic excellence by that logic should automatically be choosing the Gurukulam.
Yes,
correct?
They should.
Yeah, but the way the Gurukulam brings about academic excellence is very uncomfortable for a parent. If a parent is going to be uncomfortable with your child doing a bhajan or dancing one night before the exam, then definitely the Gurukulam is not for your child. Bharaji, 9 points. Bharaji, 9 points.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
You don't have a counter for it, Skanda.
Well, if you give me a minute. See,
No, actually, you don't. This is slam dunk,
right?
okay?
Here's the thing, right? One thing is, okay, we have been over parents and their expectations, but even if we keep that to the side, a lot of the examples you've spoken about come from a different generation of parents, and this is something you yourself spoke of in the last class, how this new generation is compared to the older one.
Which class are you talking about? Or you're talking about the previous session?
In the previous session. So I feel like we need to acknowledge the fact that this new generation has been the generation which will be more open to this idea than the last.
But still the points are ours, Skanda.
That point is it's valid, Skanda, because the CBSE is coming up with a different way also. In 2026, they are recommending open book examinations, and it's being received well. So yes, there is hope that people will expand their limited thinking, and they just want, at the end of the day, the parents just want the results, and it is being achieved.
So the result of an examination is your only benchmark to judge a child's academic excellence, right?
Unfortunately, that's the only thing that they know up until today.
I would say that's the most famous way to judge. And see, that's the thing, there is a change in the way we think about learning, which you can see all around you.
No, Skanda, it's nowhere around. I don't think it's anywhere around.
Skanda, even with all of these things, right? I think the questions that people will come back with, the parents will come back with, is if I have children going to the Gurukulam, if there is a way of you making them feel easy to write exams and still score good grades, is what it is coming down to. Nobody is focused about how the children are learning the subjects and making it applicable in their life, and how they will deal with the knowledge that they've acquired. It's not about that. It's about, is there a way in which Gurukulam can make my children take up the exams easily and score more marks? Still, the judgment goes back about how many marks that you have on your mark sheet, than how much of that knowledge has become a part of your life, which you can use and
I
link with
think
and do
I
something with
think
it.
you and Ma are talking about two different things. What I got from
We
Ma
are
is that
we are giving
parents
two
are
different
not
Two
points.
different
comfortable.
points.
We are
Yeah.
giving two different points to why, even though Gurukulam provides the platform for academic excellence, still the Gurukulam is not for your child. You want academic excellence, the Gurukulam gives you academic excellence, still the Gurukulam is not for your child, because you're more hell-bent upon the way the child receives that, the way the child expresses that academic excellence. I'll give you an example. Okay, there's this organization called Malola. I knew about this organization probably 8 years back or 10 years back. They were based at Vishakhapatnam, and it's primarily run by people with very deep spiritual background, and therefore they're bringing that strength into academic excellence for children. There is to be a beeline into this training academy, because it was assured that 30 to 40 of their seats, they have around 50 seats, 30 to 40 of them get into any IIT. And they achieve it with giving them the principles of a brahmacharya life. That organization was super successful. What I heard very lately is that they've closed down now post COVID, but they're still doing programs for different organizations like schools. Now, the thing is that people could relate to the fact children are kept in a hostel. Children are made to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's very relatable. The discipline part of the Gurukulam is very relatable. Everyone wants that boot camp like structure for their child. But, and there were so many other practices, chanting, these practices given to enhance their intelligence and, get them to perform well and develop concentration, develop focus. All of that was done. And that organization was very successful, because there was proof that there are 30 children going to IIT every year. And when it came to that, I don't think parents could even wanted to think twice, because it's like an assurance. So here, this cut to the same parallel. Raiva is running a Leela Gurukulam, which has testimonials of the oldest batch always standing above 85-90% academically. But still, anybody who wants academic excellence will not come here, because there'll be an excuse. Oh, you just did that in NIOS, and NIOS, the standard of the books is much lesser than NCRT. So my child is only excellent if they do the same thing in NCRT, not in NIOS. And if you look at it, NIOS has subjects and books which are much more grand. In the sense, you look at, who teaches Indian culture and psychology in 10th standard. Look at those books. The abstract quality of that books is amazing. And NCRT was only superficial, but the parents were happy with that. In fact, most schools don't use the books that are suggested by NCRT, the books that are published by NCRT, because it's based on storytelling, it's activity based, and there's a lot of abstract content there given, and neither the parent nor the teacher has the imagination to run a class with that textbook. So usually they go for other textbooks which are written very mechanically and very cut to information passing question answer type, right? So which is more, if you ask parent what is academic excellence, the book that they will pick up, the textbook that they'll pick up is not even the NCRT textbook, leave alone the NIOS. So if I tell that Leela Gurukulam can give your child the same academic excellence, and it is proven, the parent is, if the parent is hell-bent upon the way the child achieves it, then the Gurukulam is not for you. That's my 9 points, Skanda.
I feel we are not acknowledging the fact that compared to back when my class was there, now we have so much more behind our backs to speak. The fact that we have an entire school that has adopted our ways, and that how the children are working there. And this is a school of hundreds and hundreds of children. The fact that my generation ourselves have not only done our 10th, our 12th, we are now doing bachelors. We have gotten a quantum science diploma from one of the most well-known quantum scientists in the world. we have so much behind us now. I don't think it's a viable point anymore.
Many Gurukulams around Bharata have the same credentials. But then why is the Gurukulam methodology? Because it's still a doubtful one, right? It's not assured. The method in which academic excellence is nourished inside a child, and in the method in which the child expresses that is really not something that parents can. I don't say parents want it. Parents want academic excellence, but it's not something that they're used to. How many stories we have heard of children who have dropped off from mainstream schooling and taken NIOS because they want to get into IITs, and therefore they want to focus only on the science subjects and not, quote unquote, waste their time on social studies and other subjects. We hear it all the time. So that seems to be a more viable option, because someone presents a parent with an idea that why should your child waste so much time on history, civics, and geography when all you need to do is coach yourself to write that entrance exam, and so that if you take NIOS, you get to focus only on the subjects that you want for your life. And that seems to be a great idea. People pick up NIOS open schooling just because of that. So the way in which a Gurukulam gets a child to be excellent academically is not acceptable to the parent. And if that is the case, Gurukulam is not for your child.
I feel
rest my case.
I feel it's not acceptable because they have an idea that it doesn't work, but we have so much that shows that it does. And my batch comes from a time where we didn't have a lot of this, but now we do.
No, but I'm not talking about the children. I'm not talking about their achievements. I'm talking about the comfort zone of parents.
Don't you feel like if someone is signing up for this, they're already
I'm so
okay
sorry.
with...
Wait, I'll just interrupt you. If you have a parent, let's say they come to the Gurukulam, but the only thing that they are bothered about is, okay, whichever methodology child should pass. They don't care. Academic excellence can also be expressed like how you expressed it. You don't want to write an exam, but you're still academically good. So academic excellence can also have multiple expressions. A parent who cannot accept that. Do you feel right now the Leela Gurukulam children that we have, if they say we also don't want to write exam, we will express our academic excellence in other way like Skanda and others, will any parent be happy? I'm literally talking to you about the parents we have present. You feel, will they not get a tug in their heart?
They will.
Hence prove.
But we are not talking about expressing in a different way. We are saying, say, if what you want us is exam and expression in that sense, even that has
then
happened.
you're not a parent in the first place. If you are a parent who only wants good marks in exam but in an easier method, if you are a parent who wants academic results only at the end of the day, but your child should not be pressurized, my child should not have homework, my child should not have continuous test, my child should comfortably write the exam. If a parent only has that list, then are they truly completely a Gurukulam parent versus a parent who wants to understand what education is, what academics is, what does it entail, how a child academically performs, what does that mean, how can I, that's not how a child can be validated. A child is much more than just its academics excellence. A parent like that coming into Gurukulam, what are the chances?
I am
of
with you on
parents
this.
like that?
I second you completely on this, Raiva. I think it's a very big point. In present Leela Gurukulam, in our own Gurukulam, we see that there are some parents who are like, yes, like you said, no homework, no pressure. I want my child to be easy and free, and arrive at their own academic excellence. Okay. And that parent might be even that, okay, it's also fine if no exams or no, I'm fine with that. But then there's just one point I'll put across. You had a quarter which completely focused on ornithology, right? You were teaching birds. You had a quarter that completely focused on, let's say, the meaning of divinity, which we did in Gajakesari, right? Then you had a quarter completely focused on Vishwabharatya, which was global learning. But the minute we announced that next quarter is going to be a math quarter, there were at least half of the parents who told their children, you have to have full attendance, you have to pay attention because this is a very important quarter. And those children came back to the Gurukulam and said, I am hating this quarter because my parents told me it's very important and I don't know it's as important as every other quarter. And we had to cancel it because that was an attitude of some of the parents. These are already people in the Gurukulam method who need to be reminded again and again what they are here for. So if that is the case, and there are so many parents outside, and this is a genuine, it's a genuine thing. It's just not relatable. This is not the way you have learned and faced exams and faced academics. You just can't relate to it. So until and unless a parent really gets in and understands the Gurukulam methodology, the subtle concept of how content is digested by the brain, how content is digested by the system, how it works in the mind, how does that, how do you bring it back and put it on paper? The holistic look of what my child is, that vision of what my child is and what academic content does to my child, and what is the way in which academic content can be taken in by my child.
Just one last example before we close and take the points. We did a workshop during the summer holidays, right? About children learning 50 different heavy science concepts using board games. I spoke to a few parents when I was volunteering to take questions about it. When I was explaining what are the topics that they're going to learn, starting from quantum physics, Newtonian sciences, biology, and name it. I mean, you guys know the content that was covered. It was amazing content that usually gets covered in high school and beyond. We told them in 15 days, these guys are going to learn these concepts through games. First question, through games, physics? Are you kidding? And you know what is the next question where I hung up the phone? Will you conduct an assessment at the end of the day to know how much have they learned from it? Do you think those things are, you think you can do something about it?
So the
You
method of
yourself-
academic excellence that they have, the idea of academic excellence is not that the child knows, not that my child is now able to talk about quarks and epigenetics. That is not important.
Yeah.
Some
So-
external body should validate academically, scholarly, with a paper pen exam that my child knows.
Yeah. But now you look at those 15, 20 kids who did those sessions, right? They can now relate to quantum physics because they now can understand what an atom, molecule, the quasars and quarks are. They have played with it, they've touched and put them together and created elements. For us, it was a abstract theory of understanding, visualizing, imagining things going around us in circles. So this, at the end of the day, parents still seek a validation saying, I need to have a question paper or something where my kid is going to come back with the answers that I'll feel, yes, they have learned the answers for it. That's how the system is still looking at academic learning. It is not about how much it is learned. It's the way that they're learning and how they're assessed to prove that they have learned something. If as long as that remains it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there is a message on chat which talks about the general opinion or idea that only children with high IQ, for example, can manage writing exams. So when the Gurukulam is focusing so much on heart intelligence, and if you talk about heart intelligence, you can go on and on and on. The capacity of the brain is not even minute. It's almost nothing compared to the capacity of what the heart can do. So when a child learns with heart intelligence, what does that child look like? The child looks as if it's playing, it's smiling, it's dancing. It's not going to take things seriously. Skanda, you know very well from your batch, I've had parents call me and ask, it irritates me that my child is not serious about exams. And I was like, serious means what? Should this person walk around with one sad face? Is that what it is? Because this child is happily singing. You've activated the heart intelligence. The child is learning and expressing through the heart intelligence. So if you don't get that, then the Gurukulam is definitely not for your child. So we take these 9 points and go for a break.
Okay, I want to, well, do I still want to fight for these points? If you're so adamant on it, I will, I will back
No, we're
down.
not adamant. It's not a matter of being adamant, Skanda. Even our time's up, right?
One point I want to say, which was very important, that Eva had said, that if a parent only wants this, right? If a parent is only joining, even if they think like, oh, the curriculum will make them give good marks, and they only join because of that, right? Then they shouldn't be joining to begin with. And I feel that is a note that we should carry forward throughout the entire class, or throughout the entire few days we have left. That though all of these points show what the curriculum looks like as a whole, but what does not fit with us is that you only come for one of it, because that bias is a very dangerous thing, especially for the child's learning. As Ma said, what happened during the maths co-op, some parents are like, oh, this is going to be important because it's about maths, and that just did not want that. The kids whose parents did not well calm about it, those did really well. But the other kids, they were shook, because this is the only quarter where the parents have come and given them this idea, and that undermined everything else we had done. We had so many
Absolutely.
quarters. We
Yes.
taught them how to be a part of the world, with a quarter about appreciating all the different countries, all the different ways people live. We had so much, and all of that got undermined because of the one thing a parent said, that this is more important than anything else you have done. If anyone, I will give you 10 points at this. If anyone has the idea that you'll join any curriculum because of one of its many aspects, you shouldn't join to begin with, because
Thank
then
you.
it's not going to harm you.
Absolutely. You
It's
just
it's
nailed
not
it.
going to help you. It's not going to help your child, and it's not going to help us do what we need to do. Though
Absolutely.
I still feel that we
Being so honest, because it was not just the statement that came that maths is very important. The parents said, you need maths for the rest of your life.
yes,
And the child asked me, so whatever else I learned till now, do I not need that for the rest of my life?
and that
Right?
is something I can talk about for hours, because
Yeah.
as a mentor, we put so much work into everything we do. But then, the spirit of the parent is so important. But that's why I have said from the beginning, this is not just an admission for your child. If you're not here with us, it's not going to work out. So if you're here with us only for one aspect, even if it's an aspect like spiritual learning or connecting with your gods, I'm not saying that those are bad. Saying that, I'm not saying that this is bad, but I'm saying that if you're not going, again, for the whole deal, don't take any of the deal.
It's either all or nothing. And at that
All or
note,
nothing.
we are 9-0 for the day.
10.
Bharati, we'll come back at
5:30.
5:35. Yeah, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.